Hello, everyone. So, this video is going to be my summarization on what I think is going to happen in the 2026 season for every single AL team. I'm just going to jump right in. Blue Jays obviously are coming off of a World Series appearance. They took the Dodgers to Game 7 of the World Series and lost in a extra innings thriller. I'm so sorry, Toronto fans. That hurt to watch, honestly. But all things considered, the good news is this team is probably one or two in the AL total. They're probably either the first or the second seed because they are still elite as a team. Now, you pick up guys like Dylan Cease right at the start of free agency, which is a huge signing for them. I like that signing a lot. It's a lot of money and it's a lot of years, but I think Dylan Cease will give you a lot of value for probably the first 3 years of that deal. So I'm all for it. Kazuma Okamoto is going to be a great pickup for you. Takes over for Bo Bichette well and should be a really good player. Tyler Rogers is also a great pickup. Cody Ponce is cool too. Team overall is still really elite. You have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You have George Springer, who had a really weird resurgence last year. Kevin Gausman is still great. Ernie Clement, Addison Barger, Miles Straw, Dalton Varsho, Alejandro Kirk. This team's just deep. Their bullpen's good. Their rotation's good. And their hitting lineup is deadly. Toronto, good news is you'll be a good team next year. You won't have to worry about it. And you'll beat the Yankees out in the division. Don't worry. Speaking of, the Yankees are the next team I'm going to be covering. The Yankees are a good team, but they will not be anywhere near as good as they were last year. Their team is overall really flawed, in my opinion. Their hitting lineup is just not able to supplement a player like Aaron Judge the way that you would want. Their rotation's cool, their bullpen's cool, but man, that hitting lineup, it can be a disappointment at times, and I think the postseason really proved that. Cody Bellinger, re-signing him was good for you. I don't think you could get much better than Cody Bellinger out there, and so I think you live with that. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. Carlos Rodon had a great year, so did Max Fried. Jazz Chisholm's cool. Trent Grisham, giving him the qualifying offer was a mistake. I will say that up front. You paid this man $23 million a year, or for one season. He had a great year. Don't get me wrong. This is not repeatable. At least the way that I see it. Ben Rice is cool. Cam Schlittler is cool. Giancarlo Stanton's all right. Clark Schmidt. Volpe was terrible. Jose Caballero. Yankees fans, they can come after me. The team will be good. They'll be the second best team in the AL East. Actually, no, I retract that. They'll be the third best team in the AL East, but they'll still make the playoffs. Don't worry. It's still a playoff team. Don't get that twisted. But I just don't think the ceiling is as high as Yankees fans think it is. So I'd give them third seed or third best team in the AL East in the playoffs, but it's a little shaky. The next team you have here is the Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox are also in a very weird position as a team right now. They're definitely in the middle of a transition from coming out of a retool, kind of. You have a good team here, a really good team. You lost Alex Bregman, which hurts, and you didn't really bring anyone back to supplement him. But you signed Ranger Suarez, which is a great signing for them, at least for the first 2 years. I think you could probably live with that. IKF is a good signing, I guess. That's about it for that. But where you really improved as a team is the trades. Trading market, you went out, you got Caleb Durbin, which is great. You went out and you got Wilson Contreras, which is great. And you went out and you got Sonny Gray, which is cool. And Yohan Olvido, too. The team is good. I don't know if they're better than last year necessarily. The only way I could see this team taking a giant jump is Roman Anthony becoming the type of player that you think Roman Anthony will be. And if that is the case, this team will be better than the Yankees in the division, and I would pen that in. But re-signing also Aroldis Chapman is a good thing. You gave him an extension, I believe, at the end of the season, which is great. The team is good. I can't believe Rafael Devers is still here on this top 12 players, and he played up until like this point in the season, which is insane. But they'll be a good team next year. I think they'll be second or fourth in the division, maybe. I think the AL East is just extremely stacked, to be frank, and so maybe they'll make the playoffs. I could see it. Next team up is the Tampa Bay Rays. Going back to Truist this season, which is cool for them, I guess. I'm sorry for Tampa fans because I know they want a stadium in a newer spot. But you have Junior Caminero, which is great. Drew Rasmussen's cool. Jonathan Aranda's cool. Yandy Diaz, I don't think he'll be on the roster by the end of the season. Danny Jensen, I don't even think he plays there. Yeah, he plays for the Rangers now. Ryan Pepio, I don't know if he's still on the team. You trade Shane Baz. This team is just in a really weird spot. You picked up pretty much no one in the free agency pool outside of Steven Matz and Cedric Mullins, who you'll probably end up flipping at the deadline anyways, so who cares? And then, I mean, you got some guys back from the Brandon Lowe trade. Caden Bodine's really cool. You got him back from the Shane Baz trade, which I like that pickup for you. Ben Williamson is a good pickup. I don't really. Oh, you got him in the Brandon. Oh yeah, that's right. You did get him in the Brendan Donovan trade. That's a good pickup for you. That's kind of it, really. You didn't really get anything too crazy from anything else. So my opinion on the Tampa Bay Rays, they'll be the worst team in the division, unfortunately. But they'll do Tampa Bay Ray things, and they'll still be around 500 because it's the Tampa Bay Rays. So that's where I'm at. Tampa Bay will still be okay at the end of the day. And, yeah, they won't make the playoffs, though. Next team up here is the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles are a really interesting team going into next season. Last year was a disaster of a season. It could not have gone any worse if you were a Baltimore Orioles fan. I apologize. I thought you were going to be really good next year. I think I even had you making it to the ALCS. I was very obviously wrong. But Tyler Rogers is a great pickup for you. Gunnar Henderson is still really good, even if he missed a lot of games. And I do believe you had a much better second half of the season than you did the first half, which is a good sign, all things considered. You really got to hope that Adley Rutschman gets back to his normal self. But you still have really great pieces on this team. You have Ryan O'Hearn. You have Jordan Westberg, Kyle Bradish, Felix Bautista, Jackson Holliday, who unfortunately broke his hand the other day or yesterday, of the time that I'm recording this. You picked up Shane Baz, which is a great pickup, and obviously the reason why I'm so high on your team coming into the season is you made great moves out in free agency. You picked up Ryan Helsley. I like that signing for you. Ryan Helsley blew ass for the Mets in the second half of the season, but I don't think he's as bad as that made it look. So I like that signing for you. Pete Alonso is the big deal. No one saw this coming. I think if you thought that Pete Alonso was going to be a Baltimore Oriole, you're either a psychic or you're insane. The Pete Alonso signing was the first big ripple of the offseason, the way that I see it. And so, obviously, when you're signing Pete Alonso, you're picking up huge power. And I believe that I believe that Camden Yards is a lot more hitter-friendly than it once was. And you still have a ton of good players on this team. Not to mention, not on the list, I don't think, is like Dylan Beavers. What's his name? I'm so sorry. What is his name? Not Kyle Bradish. It's not Jackson Holliday. The rookie of the year from the year before that. Outfielder. You still have him too, which is great. This Orioles team, it's going to be a good team. Watch out for them. I think they'll be third best team in the AL East, and I think they'll be in the playoffs. So just keep that in mind. Next up, we have the lowly AL Central. This division is going to be honestly kind of brutal. There's maybe one good team in this division, and I'll tell you now, it won't be the Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland, I know, tends to have a really interesting year most years. Uh, this year is not going to be one of those years. I think all the talent on that team is out the window. If you're starting guys like George Valera, and this is no offense to him, but if you're starting guys like George Valera, you're really just not going to put up much more or much impact on the roster. If your main free agency signing is Sean Armstrong, then that's a bit of a problem. You did nothing in the offseason. In fact, I believe you lost guys. Let me check that now. In free agency, you didn't really lose anyone, but you got rid of Josh Naylor, and that just kind of proves really where you are as a team and as a franchise. So I don't think they're very serious about winning. I feel bad for J-Ram. Gavin Williams is good. Stephen Kwan's good. Schneeman's all right. But this team is just not good enough to do anything important in the AL next year, and I think they'll have another middling year. So that's where I'm at with the Cleveland Guardians. They'll be all right. They're not going to be anything crazy, though. Next team up here, we have the Detroit Tigers. This will be your AL Central winners. But this year is a very make or break season for the Tigers. Tarek Skubal is a free agent next offseason. If you cannot get this man on an extension, the Tigers are not going to be able to contend. And it's just a fact. I know you signed Framber Valdez, and that's a great signing. Framber Valdez is a great pickup going into the season. But I really, really just don't see how Framber Valdez is in any way an improvement or a replacement for Tarek Skubal. Because he's not. Kenley Jansen's cool. Phil Bickford is all right. Austin Slater's a good pickup. Verlander coming back for a retirement tour is great. But this Tigers team has a lot to prove, and they need to prove it this season. If this season is not their year and Skubal decides to leave or they can't get an extension done, or they even trade him, if they trade him, that would be insane, then this Tigers team will be screwed. But I'm really pulling for the Tigers. I really hope they have a good year. I want the Tigers to be good. So, shout out to the Tigers, I guess. But this is a make or break year if you're a Tigers fan. And you really need to keep an eye out on the Tarek Skubal situation. Next team up here, we have the Kansas City Royals. Kansas City, good roster. I think there's a lot to like about this Kansas City roster, but I don't think they're playoff ready yet. They made the playoffs last season or the season before that. They barely snuck in. I don't think the team is crazy good right now, but I think you have some interesting signings out there. I like the Lane Thomas signing as a gap year outfielder. And you traded for Matt Strahm, which is cool. Traded for Isaac Collins, which is also cool, and you got Cameron Meisner too, which is cool. Team hasn't really changed too much. You're just really hoping that the Michael Garcia breakout last season is real. I'm personally really happy that they did not trade Cole Reagans. And Royals fans can disagree with me on that. I just think that Cole Reagans brings a lot more value to the Royals than Jarren Duran would have. Even if Jarren Duran would have filled a position in need, I really don't think Noah Cameron would have been able to be a good number 2 on this team. And Seth Lugo is getting older and older by the day. So I think pitching is still a very dire need for them. But more than anything, their offense needs to get supplemented. I love Pasquatch. I love Michael. I love Bobby. I love Salvi. But the offense is still kind of middling. You need to get a few more pieces in there, especially in the outfield. So that's where I'm at with this team. Kansas City, they'll probably be third in the division. Maybe they'll sneak into a playoff spot because the AL is honestly kind of weak. But you just really got to see how it's going to play out. All right, next up, we got the Minnesota Twins. I'm so sorry, Minnesota fans. This team's going to be bad. And frankly, I feel bad for Byron Buxton. I know he elected to stay, and I appreciate his loyalty. But this Twins team is not going to be good. Royce Lewis did not pan out the way that you thought. Johan Duran's off the team. Bader's off the team. This team's just not going to be good next season, and it's time to really understand that. Especially, I feel like a lot of people know that, but they haven't really looked at the roster. The roster is lacking so bad in terms of talent. Your big free agency acquisition was probably Josh Bell. That's not good. Josh Bell is not good. That's not a good pickup for a team that was supposed to be good, especially 2 years ago. 2024 really killed the momentum of this team, and it's unfortunate the direction that they've had to go in, but it's time to start bottom feeding again, and it's time to retool, get some prospects, and rebuild. I'm sorry, Minnesota fans. They're going to be the worst team in the AL Central next year. The Chicago White Sox are next on my list. This is the team that I'm oddly kind of high on next season. You have Colson Montgomery and Kyle Teal, which is the foundation of the core that you're trying to build. Those two are really good. Colson Montgomery, especially, is an absolute stud. As you can see here, they way underperformed what they were supposed to in their win-loss record last season, which doesn't mean much really in the grand scheme of things, but it shows you that there's talent on the team. And they definitely made moves to improve the roster, and the biggest of that being going and signing Munetaka Murakami. He's going to be a great player for this team, even if it's just for 2 years. You have a player worth a damn on your roster who you got in free agency, which is great. Sir Anthony Dominguez. I don't know if he's technically a good closer for you, but he'll be a good relief pitcher for you. Getting Eric Fetty back is cool. Austin Hayes is cool. Lamont Wade's an alright depth piece. The team's building depth, and I think that's really respectable, not to mention what they got back in the Luis Robert trade, among other things. Lezingwell Acuna is cool. Jordan Hicks might be okay. They're just really trying to build a team that might go out and compete in the AL next season, and I think that's incredibly respectable. So shout out to the White Sox, hoping for a lot of improvement next year, and I think they'll be fourth. I think you'll be able to see that noticeable improvement going into next season. Next up, we have the Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners are a very good team. I think they'll be the 1 seed in the AL next year. Yes, I think they'll beat out Toronto. I think this team is just so stacked, top to bottom, even if you lost a guy like Jorge Polanco, Kyle Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, Brian Wu, Randy Arozarena, J.P. Crawford, Josh Naylor, Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert. So deep, so good. Andres Munoz, Edward Buzardo, Gabe Spire. There's so many elite and good players on this team. It's hard not to think that Seattle will be the best team in the AL. You lost Eugenio Suarez, which is unfortunate. But you got cool depth pieces. You got Rob Refsteiner. Connor Joe's an okay depth piece. You obviously re-signed Josh Naylor. You got Jose Ferrer, great bullpen piece. And you got Brendan Donovan, too. So Brendan Donovan will be a great utility-type player for you. This team is deep. And I think they'll be the best team in the AL. I think they're just way too talented not to be. I'd be surprised if they were even second in third division and maybe even under the 3rd seed in the AL. So take that as you will. Team's great, and I have a lot of respect for them. I can't wait to see what Seattle is going to do next season. And yeah, they'll be in the playoffs. Don't worry.